Hi, my name is Alejandro Pérez Pérez, and this is the AI Coffee Podcast. Every week, we will have one episode regarding one disruptive aspect of technologies for the time to drink a cup of coffee. Today, we will talk about bias. And I don't know if you know, but there is a statistic that says that in about 7 seconds, we can have a prejudice about a person, a podcast, for example, or about anything we see or hear. So imagine the consequences of that. Imagine that such in a short amount of time, like 7 seconds, think about that, we have a first idea about a person. So that's a really important topic. And bias is also a really important issue in artificial intelligence, as many of the algorithms made by humans can be biased as well, as we will see by the end of this episode. Are you ready? Are you ready to know more about bias? I'm sure that you are. So firstly, I will bring here the definition of bias that Oxford Reference says. So for this dictionary, a bias is a systematic distortion of results or findings from the true state of affairs, or any of several varieties of processes leading to systematic distortion. In everyday usage, bias often implies the presence of emotional and or political prejudices that influence conclusions and decisions. So, I wonder, are we biased? Yes, all. We are all biased. That's a really natural thing. Of course, we are biased. We have our own prejudices. Most of them are normal. Most of them are necessary. Because imagine, I don't know, if we see a fire in a house, for example, we need to run away from that. So that's a bias. That's a prejudice somehow. But of course, there are many biases that are unnecessary, they are really negative for the society, and they are really important to mention. In addition to that, another important topic would be the difference between conscious and unconscious bias. So the first one is like the one that you might have in mind when you think about prejudices. So for example, homophobia or racism are part of this conscious bias because people want somehow to be homophobic or sexist or racist because somehow they have chosen that, or at least the society where they live have done so. Therefore, we could say that they are conscious. People can describe them, people can imagine them, people can suffer from them directly. So that's why we call conscious, because we can control them, and ideally we can let them disappear. We can put them away from our societies little by little. So that's the first thing. So what about unconscious bias? What about them? What are they? So unconscious bias are these kind of prejudices that we have, but we don't know that we have. So that's a really important point, because even if we don't want to be homophobic, we all are. Even if we don't want to be racist, we all are, and maybe if we as people try to deconstruct ourselves to be as less biased as possible, we all are. And that's a natural thing because our survival in the world for millions of years has been related to bias, because it's a natural thing that appear in our life by evolution. So we are building societies relying on others that are similar to our friends or family and all the people we have already known in the past. However, unfortunately, I am not an anthropologist, so I am not able to explain everything with every detail, but just I wanted to say that this is a really, really key point for artificial intelligence. As I don't know if you have thought about that, but there are many algorithms at this moment that can discriminate which is the best employee or the best candidate for a post only by applying AI, and they exist at this moment. So the point is that the people who have created them, the developers or the companies that are behind this, are they biased? Yes, they are. As all of us are biased. But are these algorithms biased as well? So that's a really important point. And many of researchers have thought about that and have said that that's more common than expected. So that's a really important point. And I will ask you if you have thought about that before, and please let me know if yes, and yes, of course, let me know if you have been biased by an algorithm, or for example, if you think that because of your gender or because of your sexuality or ideology, for example, you might have been, for example, excluded for a job position somehow. Yes. So this is really connected to what I will tell you today. There is an application that I really like a lot, whose name is tengai.io. I will spell it maybe better. So it's TENGAI.io. And before you ask me that, I will tell you that I don't have any kind of agreement with this company. I'm just so enthusiastic about what they are doing. And the idea that they have is that how can they help recruitment processes to be as less biased as possible? And of course, it's really hard. It's a really hard question to be solved. But I invite you to see their website. I will add it to the notes of this episode. But the point that they have is that they build a robot head that has somehow like a screen on his face. And the point is like they create a filter mask for the candidate, for the boys as well. So instead of the candidate going to the office to do the interview for a recruitment process, for example, what they do is they use this mask to avoid bias. So it's really an imaginative solution for avoiding bias in a recruitment process, as they have this neutral robot head and neutral voice, so the recruiter is not able to know any non-professional data. So imagine, the idea is absolutely crazy but really clever, as it helps the recruiter to be non-biased, because this person is only focusing on talent and into professional things, and not really focusing on how the other person, the candidate, is. And it's really different if you compare what you have lived maybe in your professional career, but still it is really clever, don't you think so? So I know that it's really modern and futuristic solution, but apparently it works really well. And there are like many articles written about this idea in BBC and Forbes. I invite you to read them because they are really interesting. And also this company has the Influential Businesswoman Awards. They won this in 2022. And also they were finalists at the 2020 Innovative Company of the Year in Recruitment Awards. So it means that there is a worry in the market related to bias, and because talent is everywhere, in every kind of gender, race, and in every part of the world. So being biased is a problematic issue for the company, as they are not maybe hiring the best, they are hiring what they have been expected before. And it's a really important topic. So I invite you all to watch this idea that they had and some videos, because it seems a little bit fantastic and futuristic, and I like it. And of course, I wonder if that's the best solution to be less biased. Maybe not. Maybe it's like a partial solution for a really important and big problem that we all have. But again, it's a first step in a way we will have less and less bias in our society. So I invite you to see the website again, and just to give also like a kind of small points about the company. They have a freemium subscription. So if you are hiring people or you are thinking about that for a company or whatever project you are thinking about, you can try to see that because they have a first free version of the product, and then it's about 250 euros for year. That's the price for November 2022. But again, you can see if there is something similar in the market as well. I think that there are like many new solutions like that could disrupt the recruitment market. Of course, I want also to say that there is not any kind of collaboration with this company. I have just thought about this one because I feel like they are quite innovative and funny. And also, another thing I wanted to tell you is that at this moment, they only work in English and Swedish because they are a Swedish company. So they started with Swedish, and a couple of years ago, they also added English to the conversations and all the things that they have, But maybe in the future, it's going to be also in other languages, maybe Spanish, maybe Chinese, I don't know. But let's have a look about that. Let's see how they are going into the future. So just as a way to conclude this first episode, I wanted to ask if, in your opinion, AI is helping or is against our society? Or do you think that maybe these kind of AI solutions can avoid us to be biased or to have the worst part of ourselves as humans? What do you think about that? Thanks for being here one more week. If you liked it, please subscribe to the podcast and to the newsletter in alejandroperezperez.com. Please share both with your friends and relatives, and don't forget to give me 5 stars in Apple Podcast and Spotify. See you next week. Bye bye.